Hi, everyone. This is Steve Maggi. Welcome to Building the Bridge, and it's my honor to have Shannon McNulty, Trust and Estates Attorney, here with me. Shannon, let's jump right in and let's find out a little bit about what trust and estates really means. You know, a lot of people know that we all have to pay taxes, but what's the importance of trust and estates? Can you explain what it is and why it's important to, especially to foreign nationals?
Sure. And I think that this term of trust and estates can be a little bit intimidating for a lot of people, thinking that, well, it's really only if they have these vast estates and multiple properties all over the world, especially in the international context. But it really is for everyone. So in the US, we call it estate planning, and it's really refers to what happens to your things if you pass away, what happens to your kids, who takes care of your kids if you pass away, or if you become incapacitated. Incapacitated means that you're very ill, you can't make your own decisions, you can't take care of yourself or other people. So we really deal with kind of what happens after you die, and then also if you became incapacitated, who would be making decisions for you and taking care of your assets.
I guess a lot of us feel invincible or we put those kinds of things off. That's a universal trait. But there are some cultures that are more preventative than in the US. Do you find that culture has something to do with that decision or maybe the reticence to not go into these, create these agreements and to plan so far ahead?
Yeah, it definitely is an area of law, and it is dictated by law, regardless of whether you're in the US or you're in any other country. It's a legal matter as to who gets your things when you pass away. But different countries have different laws and ways of dealing with that. Many countries have what we call forced heirship, meaning that you don't have freedom to leave your asset, your property, etc., to whoever you want to. It automatically goes to somebody if you die. So in those countries, this estate planning is not really a thing that most people are focused on, because they can't change that fact anyway. And it's just automatic. There's not a long court process that they would have to go through. So it's just not something that's really done. Whereas in the US, there can be a lengthy court process. If you don't have a lot of the right documents in place, it can be kind of an administrative nightmare. So I think it really depends on the legal system where someone is coming from and what they're accustomed to.
Do you think that there's an assumption that people come to the US and that the laws from their home country somehow still dictate what happens to their assets if they're in the US?
I think, to be honest, is that people just don't really think about it. It's not, especially, you deal with a lot of people coming in and getting their visas, and they're in the US and they're very excited, which is an amazing thing. But the last thing on their mind is, well, what will happen if I die while I'm here? Nobody wants to think about that,
Mm.
regardless of where you're from. So I think, regardless of background, nationality, it is something it's just really not pleasant to think about. So we tend to put it to the back of our minds and put it off.
What would, if people want to ask you questions, follow up with you, if they have, maybe they're just starting to dabble in this, or you've whet their appetite, or you've awoken them to this reality that they really need to think about this in terms of their pre-immigration planning, or if they're in the US now, how can they get in touch with you?
Probably the best way is through email. You can go to my website. It's www.mcnulty-law.com, or give us, our firm, a call, 212-431-7526, and we'll be happy to set up a consultation and sort of talk about any of these issues and how we might want to help.
Thank you for your time, Shannon. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Steve.